Baruch Hashem, so Shavua Tov, and good Shabbos. Good Shabbos, Hayom Rishon b'Shabbos, Sheni b'Shabbos, Shlishi b'Shabbos, Revi b'Shabbos, Chamishi b'Shabbos, Shlishi b'Shabbos, Shabbos. The whole week is Shabbos. Everything centers around Shabbos. There's a big discussion of how you should buy food for Shabbos. So Beit Shammai says you should buy your food on Sunday today. You should go to the marketplace and you should buy some food l'kavod Shabbos Kodesh. If on Monday you find something that looks nicer, you should eat the first thing that you bought today, l'kavod Shabbos Kodesh, because by me eating the fleishiks today, that's not as nice as the ones that I found today, I'm going to have, that's going to be l'kavod Shabbos Kodesh. And what about tomorrow, the next day? You find something even better, then you eat the second day's thing, l'kavod Shabbos Kodesh. And every single day you're just looking for you're always finding nicer things, l'kavod Shabbos Kodesh.
Well, if you have two things that you like equally, much.
You say them both for Shabbos. And if you find something nicer, then you eat the lesser thing, and you save the nicer thing for Shabbos. Which means by the end of the week, you've compiled like this all-star team of delicacies. Right? Super delicacy platter of everything that will tantalize your taste buds. That's the name of the game. Shabbos is the most tantalizing day of pleasure, of enjoyment. Shabbos is called Oneg Shabbos. All the greatest pleasures we have on Shabbos. Shabbos is the day of absolute pleasure.
What does Oneg mean?
Oneg means very, very high level pleasure. Like very high level pleasure. Every one of a person's pleasure sensors gets activated. And not counterfeit pleasures, the good pleasures, real pleasures. And so it's so interesting. I was speaking to certain people that I know, family members, extended family members, that they're having problems with their kids with their tablets. They've got, and the kids are young and they've got tablets. They've got video game things. And they're having a hard time because the kids don't want to stop using it. And it's hard to get them off it. And one of the beautiful things about Shabbos is that there's just nothing to talk about Shabbos. And it's hard when you have kids, children, who are so addicted to these things at a young age. So they're having a hard time just like having conversations. So one of the very high level pleasures of Shabbos is you just get to have nice conversations with people that you love. Isn't that a nice thing? That's like a lost art. Yeah. To just actually have a conversation with somebody, and the pleasure of fine, scintillating conversation, enjoyable conversation. That's all Shabbos Kodesh. The whole Shabbos is beautiful conversation with people that you love. Over delicious foods. Over a candlelit dinner. It's so romantic. We have candlelit dinner. The Jews are trying to tell the whole world we have a candlelit dinner, romantic, every single week. Who has that in the world?
Who sings songs?
And sings songs to God the whole time. That's beautiful. With people you love.
3 times.
3 times, meaning, and then a special one, Motzi Shabbos, Lava Malka. We're crazy about Shabbos. It's so much pleasure. The whole day is designed around pleasure. So Shane, that's what Oneg means. It's just absolute pleasure on every level. Oneg. And something we mentioned before is that the same letters Oneg, we have oh look, Haman's still up there. I told you, every single generation doesn't go away. Right? Hey, men, nun, nun. That was Mechenina. So, Oneg.
Haman is also pork in Spanish.
Really?
Like in Spain, when you have, there's like.
If you want treif, you say Haman?
Yeah, it's Haman.
That's funny, actually. Really? Spanish for treif? For the notorious P.
It just means pork or the type of food.
We call the notorious P, IG, is like the symbol of treif. That's very funny. So Oneg, Ayin Nun Gimel, Oneg is very, very high pleasure. The Sefer Yetzirah says there's something that's very, very dangerous. It's called, you know what this is? Sorry, our pen is about bit shvach here. Nun Gimel Ayin. Same letters, just flipped around. What's that mean? Nega. Nega means tsaras, means leprosy is a bad translation. It's a spiritual blemish. Yeah, disease that affects the houses, affects clothing, affects the skin, that God forbid happens to a person if they speak evil tongue. That's why one of the things that the Jews are here to tell the world is nowhere else is there so many laws, God-given laws, but how you have to speak about another human being. We have law about only saying nice things and how to say nice things and when it's appropriate to maybe say that somebody is a cheat or not honest in business or it's not a good marriage to get involved in because I know something that they did. When and how to say, and even the nice things that you say, how to say those nice things. And if a person's not careful in this, then God forbid he gets something called nega tsaras. He gets... Leprosy is a bit of a, not the best translation because it's a spiritual blemish that would go into people's houses and clothing. And it's serious. It's like the worst thing ever. And a person has to be kicked out of the camp. And we treat somebody that says bad things about another person as you can't be part of the community. You say Lashon Hara. It's very severe. So it's the worst thing. Nega is also a code word for the nega ra, is a code word for Erev Rav, is a code word for all the evil in the world. Is anybody that gets involved? Haman, they say nobody had a lishna bisha. Nobody spoke evil tongue like Haman. Haman was like the gossip monger. If anyone wants to get some juicy stuff, Haman's like, I got some juice for you. I got some good stuff. So stay away from Haman. So nega, we need to flip these letters around to make oneg. Same letters. Which means the worst thing in the world, this is v'nahapachu, the worst thing in the world can become the greatest thing in the world. So they say, what is oneg? Oneg is an acronym. Okay? Oneg is Eden. Right? Like Gan Eden. Nun is Nahar. And this is Gan. Eden is paradise. Eden means many, many things. Eden's paradise. Nahar means what? River, beautiful. And Gan is what? Is the garden. So when you have Oneg, what's the system here? You have a paradise, this very, very high level place where Hashem, so to speak, is sending down tremendous blessing. That paradise is going towards a river, and the river is flowing into the garden where you and I are hanging out. So that sounds like a nice thing. That's called Oneg. Is when you're attached up to the Eden, and the Eden is bringing down spiritual blessing into the garden and watering the garden. And that's producing fruits, and that's producing happiness in your life, producing fruits inside. This is all happening inside of you, by the way. Okay, that's Oneg. That's what's happening when you're in Oneg. You go up to Eden, you pull the Nahar down to water your garden. And when the garden is watered nicely, you bear fruits. That means children, that means wealth, that means happiness, that means divrei Torah, it means everything you want. Well, let's take those same concepts and go to Nega, Hashem Yirachim. So Nega starts with a Nahar, which is a bit spooky, right? Because it starts with a river. Where's that river coming from? I'll give you a hint. When there's a river that's coming from no source, it's coming from the other side. So you have this mysterious river coming from an unknown source, not from Eden. There's a river, and you're downriver from something spooky, and then that goes into the garden, and then Eden is then polluted, comes after that at the end of the story. So you have this mysterious river going into the Gan, and then Eden is somewhere far away at the end. So that's the idea, is you want to pull Eden back to the beginning, as opposed to trying to draw your happiness from, I don't know, the metaverse or Netflix or whatever. Some mysterious destination that I don't know. That's why it's an important thing to point out. You know, we tell the world that you have to be careful with the things that you expose yourself to. You just watch any movie that comes up on your feed, any movie that comes up on the, you're in an airplane. This is always one of the first things back in my day that I noticed was a sign that somebody was growing in yeshiva. So he's been in yeshiva, and all of a sudden he's on the airplane. He's like going to visit family. And he sees like everyone's just sitting there in their seat, watching the little thing. And he's like, I haven't watched a movie, in a long time. Like, and all of a sudden he's like, should I pop one on? This is before the getchkelas, before they were on the phones. So you're just sitting there like, I don't know, like maybe like a kosher-ish one, like Lord of the Rings or something, like. Yeah, it'll make it like it's like somehow like that's also Torah. It's like good and evil and Why are we so careful about what we watch? Because whoever made it has influence. That influence, I don't know where that nahar is coming from. Wherever that river is coming from, is flowing from, you want to make sure that it's flowing from a good source. What kind of novels are you reading? What kind of books are you reading? We're careful with these things. You want to make sure that it comes from a good source. What kind of music do you listen to? Music, everyone's like, don't go there, Rabbi. Just whatever you do, just don't say that, It's like the thing, like I just, and don't say it. I said it. It has to be said. Because you want to know, especially music, because music you're very vulnerable. Because you open yourself, music comes from the sphere of Malchus, which means power, which means kingdom. And a king is very influential. Therefore, when you open yourself up to music, you're basically just like this. You're more or less spiritually like, take me to your leader. You're so vulnerable because the music just goes in. You don't even realize you're like singing the songs. Many people have this. Did you ever have this? That, especially when you're young, you're like singing some words to some song, and then someone's like, do you ever think like, did you know what you were just saying? It's like, no, I didn't know. I was just saying it. Sure, never happened to anybody here, but like I spoke to some people that it happened to. Why is that? You're like, oh my God, I didn't realize like what I was saying.
There's this rap music that's very much anti-women, and women will be singing it without overthinking it, right? Even the feminists.
They don't even know. It just goes in.
And it's heavy anti-women lyrics, and they'll sing it.
That's horrible. It's very important. We hold women in the greatest levels of importance, and how great a woman is, and the role of a woman is amazing, is magnificent. I look up to my wife; she's amazing. What a woman can do. Oftentimes, women have much higher pain thresholds, besides childbirth, but just in general. Like I could have like a little thing, like my nose is running, like it's hard. Come to yeshiva. Meanwhile, my wife could be under the weather for months, and you don't even hear about it. It's an amazing thing. Women are amazing, and so much more than that. What the woman represents. But there you see is a great proof of that music. You're so vulnerable when you listen. That what am I internalizing? I want to be careful. Where is that nahar? Where is that river flowing from? Because that's going into your gan. Wherever the river's coming from, it's going in. So what do they say? Buyer beware. Listener beware. I want to talk today. Actually, maybe we'll make this tomorrow, because I need a whole day to do this. I want to talk about costumes and dressing up for Purim. So maybe I'll make it the whole day tomorrow. We'll spend a little bit more time with Oneg. So what are the different things that we have for Oneg Shabbos? Food. Should be the best food possible. What about you like have a very expensive taste? Should you buy it?
Yeah. If it's for Shabbos.
You've got a muna.
If it's for Shabbos.
Ben, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food? You're not going to like the answer.
Steak.
No.
Texan, come on.
You're not going to like the answer.
As long as it's not treif. And if it is, then we'll talk about it. Go on. Good thing Renee Shatar. Baruch Hashem.
Beef ribs. Look, man, I'm a sucker for a good old-fashioned cheeseburger.
So it's a,
so
you
many
see,
cheese alternatives. So many.
so I'm sure we're talking about not soy, because get away from that. But
Vegan cheese.
yeah, I don't know,
Yeah,
what,
it's a
almond
vegan-
cheese or something? Something like legit enough?
Almond cheese.
Almonds?
Almond cheese.
Almonds where it's at. Almonds, there's a lot of good stuff to do with almonds nowadays. What's that?
Almond cheese and fake meat.
Wild fake
And gluten-free bread.
No, you could have gluten. You can have.
We're gonna go all the way, man. Go all the way.
No.
No, bread is a good thing. Ideally nowadays people should get einkorn wheat. Einkorn wheat is heirloom wheat. Yeah, what does that mean? Generally, a lot of the foods have become highly hybridized in the world. What does that mean? Is that the wheat species of nowadays are not the same as they used to be. They're much higher in gluten and much lower and higher in sugars and lower in minerals. And that's a problem. That's a big problem because a lot of people are sensitive to that. A lot of the fruits are more hybridized nowadays. A banana nowadays, a Chiquita, is that what the brand is?
Yeah, Chiquita.
Chiquita bananas are not what heirloom old school bananas, the OG bananas.
Well, those died out because of the virus, but
They didn't die out. When I was in Hawaii, we were growing all sorts of wild bananas. Blue bananas, purple bananas.
no.
They want to take over the world with hybridized bananas, which are much higher in sugar and lower in minerals and vitamins. So it spikes your sugar, and your body doesn't adapt so well to it. Oranges are sweet, low in minerals. Wheat is the same thing. Wheat used to be a much richer, heartier, mineralized food. In the Torah, wheat is our thing. Wheat is like the thing. Bread is hamoitzi lechem min haaretz. It's the greatest bracha we have. It's the greatest food. It's the most purified food. It's the greatest there is. But so many people are sensitive. So many people are sensitive. Also for Pesach, they're sensitive for matzah purposes. You use wheat for matzah. Matzah is the bread. It's more special than the bread of the food of angels. Matzah is the most exalted food in the world. It's more than the man. Matzah is, just wait for Pesach. Matzah is unbelievable. I wait the whole year. One of my highest moments of the whole year. Besides every bris, because that's very, very special.
Matzah pizza.
Nah, it's gebrooks. But the moment of eating the first kazayas of matzah, the two kazayas of matzah, that moment of asher kedem mitzvah al achilas matzah, just that moment is so high, is so good. And for sadly, so many people, wheat is very, very hard for them to digest. Gluten sensitivity, gluten intolerance, gluten allergies, very, very problematic. A main thing is that the wheat is not the wheat that we used to have. So einkorn is older strains that have been preserved. I'll give you guys an example that you probably have seen. You've seen tomatoes before? You know, your regular, like classic, in the supermarket tomato. Big, red, fat one. Okay? Then you ever seen, like, you go to the farmers markets and you see like these interesting looking tomatoes? Like yellow, purple, like cool looking tomatoes, oftentimes not the perfect shape, but actually a little bit more beautiful if you have an eye for it. So those are heirloom tomatoes. Those are the older strains that haven't been as tampered with. So why did they tamper with them? You think those heirloom tomatoes travel well? Oh, you think they're good for business? They're not as good for the man to make a lot of money off. So they hybridized down the tomatoes, added some fish DNA to make it grow in colder climates. And welcome to tomatoes. But who said that that's what we want? Not a simple thing. Not a simple thing. So too the wheat, my friends. The wheat has been hybridized a lot. So if you can get old strains of it, I was on an island called Salt Spring Island back in the day. I'm not sure if they still have this there. It's off the coast of British Columbia in Canada. The entire island I was there organic farming. The entire island is organic. There's like chukim mishpatim to get onto the island. Not a pasha thing. Like, oh, I'm going to move to Salt Spring Island and open up a farm. Wait a second, bro. Like, how are you growing? What's your plan here? It's not so simple to get onto the island because they don't want GMOs and stuff going onto the island. Not a simple thing. So there's all sorts of things that you have to criteria to get on there. One of the things on the island, they have a bakery. I don't think it's kosher. I'm not sure. But they have specifically a bakery on the island. The entire bakery is einkorn wheat. Meaning everything, basically the whole island is einkorn. They push away. Like, you got real wheat, the old strains of wheat, and there's people that are still saving seeds. There's seed banks all over the world, people putting seed and preserving it, because otherwise we're going to lose certain strains of things. Old corn strains. The corn you see nowadays?
Garbage.
Gagangan. Corn's done, soy's done, wheat's more or less done. These things, all these vegetable oils, finished. But there's people that are preserving seed. Just, by the way, think about that in a certain way. Preserving seed, a very deep concept. That are original strains. That have more potency. The seed with more potency that will give you more potency, as opposed to having hybridized things that are making a lot of problems with people. That so many people can't tolerate gluten, wheat. So, when it comes to Oneg Shabbos, the best would be to try to up the einkorn status of your home. Do the best you can. And get the things that have the best possible taste for you, the most delicious things possible. How much you have to spend, well, maybe we'll talk about next time. There is a mitzvah to spend a lot and to borrow because Hashem foots the bill. But it has to be what's in the honor of Shabbos. It can't be what's in the honor of me. It has to be what's in the honor of Shabbos altogether. We should be Zeicha Mamish to have the true Oneg Shabbos Mashiach Tzidkeinu V'Mehir V'Yamin. Amen. Shavua Tov, Kol Tov.
Can you make that distinction for me or